Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace. Tonight here on the Pace Report, I'm honored to present to you as well as profile a musician who hails from Buenos Aires, Argentina by the name of Roxana Amed. Now, over the last 20 years, Roxana has not only infused folk music from her native country, but also has dived into Black American music as well as the Great American Songbook. Now tonight here on the Pace Report, you are going to witness her official New York record release performance of Becoming Human, which is now available on Sony Music. Roxana was just here in New York City performing music for official New York record release of her new album, Becoming Human. Now this music was commissioned by the Chamber Music America and New Jazz Works. And this album is a myriad of a reflection of her growing up in Argentina, as well as some very, very, very personal reflections of her as a female growing up in her country, as well as her transition here to the United States. Now these compositions are composed and performed in chapters, and tonight you're going to see highlights of her performing this music at the Jazz Gallery here in New York City. I had a chance to sit down and break bread with Roxana to talk about, one, why this record was very important to her, as well as reflect on her growing up in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Also, we sit down and reflect on some of her important musical influences, as well as talk about how she's trying to take and present this music moving forward. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of Miss Roxana Amed performing music from her brand new record, Becoming Human, for the official New York record release performance at the Jazz Gallery, here on the Pace Report, here in New York City. Roxana, I am so proud of you. I just listened to the new music, and you know, the last 3 years, America and the world has gone through some incredible changes, and music still remains the viable part of what keeps people sane. Tell everybody about two components of this record. One, it's funded by it's a fellowship that sponsored this record, and also these are layers of your life that you are talking about.
Exactly. This is my 11th record, Becoming Human. And when I got this grant, the New Just Works grant, which is an honor. It is a grant that many great musicians, super better musicians than myself, received, and like Wayne Shorter. I mean, this is the Doris Duke Foundation and Chamber Music America. They have been really offering opportunities, and so I said, like, I don't want to do another record, you know, like working on repertoire and arranging things, or maybe writing with someone else. I wanted to do something different. And maybe it happens when you become older, you start looking back more often because you know what's happening next, maybe, or you suspect what's gonna happen. And you find that remembering or putting all together the pieces of what you have been will help you face the upcoming years better. So that is what happened to me. And I started trying to remember what took me here. So I started entertaining this idea of why not writing a cycle of songs that would reflect those episodes in my life. The ones that come to me every day, those memories from my childhood that I still see in myself, that child, that young woman, and the horses riding in my blood then. Those same horses that brought me here to the States 11 years ago. And because they still live in us, you know. So I ended up stealing time from my teaching, which is I teach a lot, so the load is a little bit hard to deal with. So when a student was not there, I was like, oh, this is the time. So I started messing up with the piano and trying to write these pieces. And trying to imagine the music for this poetic journey, which is life for every human. Maybe a little bit more intense for an artist. As we become translators of what happens in life, when you start like trying to figure out how to transcribe what is happening and make it an art piece. So little by little, all the pieces came together. The first one I wrote is one of the last ones, and and then I said like, okay, I want to make this like a collective work. And I have been working with these great musicians these past years. And they became, in a way, part of my life. I say in a way because it's not that we are friends, like we hang out, but it is even deeper because they help me find my voice again here. As transcribers and translators, writers or artists, we depend on where we live, the community we grow up in, the language we speak, the geography of the places where we were brought up. So when you leave that behind, as immigrants do, you lose your voice. You lose your voice. You start like trying to describe a universe, a city, people that you can't really read. So that makes a very weird effect in humans and in artists. So I was desperate and I found these musicians, Martin Bejerano, Mark Small, and they kind of trusted me. I said like, can we just make some music? They said like, oh, for sure. I was like, okay, these people want to work with me. There might be still something good I can do. And we started putting that thing together, and so they had to be in this project. It was not for any musician, they had to be them. So they started arranging some of the tunes and becoming, in a way, also translators of my own songs, taking the songs to a more solid sound. So becoming human is a poetic way to describe my journey, and also in a way an invitation maybe to be honest. I was not sure if it was gonna work. Maybe I started saying like maybe it will work maybe last night after the premiere. It's like, okay, it is happening. So we could make it sound as it was in my head and my soul, and I could hear everybody's voices in this music, which is a community feeling that I love. And even when I love to perform songs I didn't write, that this felt so honest, and I was so vulnerable on stage. Like, hey, I'm telling the story. I don't know if it is okay or not, but this is honest music.
This band, I'm listening to how you guys communicate with one another, and this band has been together for a while. Do you think that because of the honesty and also just how you trust these musicians, that the creative process gets easier, or does it get harder?
It gets easier, but that is just a miracle. I think when I was so desperate trying to find a band, when we have this wilderness like making us survive, I must have found the right people. So we are interested in being flexible with the other ones. Hey, I wrote this. Yeah, okay, let's do it. I wrote this, but I don't know how it will sound in the horn. I will take care of that. I wrote this for piano, but Martin, please improve it. No, it's okay. I will start from what you wrote. That doesn't happen often. So I like to think that we all feel lucky about meeting. We have been playing together for 10 years or so. Maybe, I don't know, we found a little lonely in Miami, where we live, we're based on. Martin had been living for years in New York before moving to Miami. He moved to Miami a little before I arrived. Mark Small, who was from up north and was a New Yorker, and also moved there not long before I arrived. So we were like maybe looking for a different imaginary place, and I think we are helping each other in a way.
You're on a very good label. You're on Sony Music, and you've had some very, very good success with them. You've nominated 2 times for Grammy. The music industry is really changed and shifting now, and jazz music and even folk music. I say folk music because that even gets thrown to the back burner because it's not profitable. And we were talking earlier about how there are things that we're gonna have to start doing to make this music more viable. I think Samara Joy did a fantastic job at reintroducing youth to jazz music, but what you're doing, exactly, and what you're doing, you're bringing your the music from Buenos Aires, from Argentina, and you're fusing it with American black music too. What are some of the things that you're working on, or things that you're doing when you're presenting this music to people?
Well, it's something interesting I want to say is like, I am a teacher. When I moved here, even when had been singing traditional jazz and listening to that music for years, I always felt like I had to do that very carefully. It was not my tradition, but it was the music I learned from. I really wanted to have that in my body, in my instrument. So I work very hard as a teacher to show that respect for that tradition. And definitely artists like Cécile Macaron-Salvant or Jasmine Horn or the young Samara are bringing tradition again to youth. And it's true. My students they come and say like, I'd like to sing this song. How did you find this song? Samara Joyce recorded it. Good for her. But I still felt that even when I need to learn from that black tradition, I have to be respectful and trying to offer something that comes from my own roots, from my own musical roots. maybe that's why I haven't released any album with standards, which I love, and I'd love to do. But I'm kind of shy. I say like, hey, I have to be careful about this. And I'm trying to get courage to do it, and maybe next time we will talk about that. And but I think that is one pending assignment, like trying to trust my instincts and get the right advice and maybe release music that honors Black tradition. I'm a little worried not to be taken as a respectful artist, but that would be something I'd love to do. Yeah. Maybe I'm ready at some point. I hope I learn enough. So there are projects coming. I still have to work also on some other Argentine material. I come and go from recording in Spanish and English. My Spanish is richer. I have a postgraduate in literature in Spanish language, a weird thing. I did when I was young. I don't remember how old I was many years ago. And I like to be in touch with my Spanish and to, in a way, also recover the richness of the Spanish. Not the Spanish that is halfway taught by immigrants, but the Spanish that comes from a fully Spanish speaker person. So that is something that I always want to go back to. At Frost, where the University of Miami, where I am a full-time teacher there, I co-direct an ensemble for Latin music, and I'm obsessed with that, because sometimes our students learn Spanish from the songs, and the songs are not necessarily written by poets, but maybe speakers with a reduced vocabulary. So I feel that us coming from Latin America, we need to curate the material we release in Spanish to preserve our tradition and the beauty of our language.
Well, that was what a lot of the bossa nova, Antonio Carlos Jobim, a lot of those composers did, but they were bringing their Brazilian ethnicity to the music. That's what made it so authentic. And then when it came to Americans was like, oh wow.
Well, Brazilian music, oh wow.
Yeah. Melodies,
wow.
Cool. Yeah.
Everything, performers.
Yeah.
That loyalty to their sound, oh wow. And I come from Argentina, and I have to say, like, we had Ginastera and Piazzolla and rock artists like Luis Alberto Spinetta, like a kind of a jazz rock unique artist, like wow. But all my respect to Brazilian music.
Prayer to transform a particle of light into 1,000 summers. Before those horses empezaron a correr en la niebla, sangrando, relinchando bajo la luna. So white it was today. So white to master the wilderness, to swim in the waters of love, to build a home, descubrir mi soledad inmensa y rezar de nuevo para poder convertirme en una partícula de estrella.
did you come into music, and how did you come into jazz? Because I'm curious, because I've interviewed musicians from all over the world here on the Pace Report, and their exposure is different. A cassette tape, a video,
exactly,
radio.
Right.
How was jazz? How were you exposed to it?
My father used to love Argentine folk music. So I started having a very small guitar and played duos with my father when I was 4 years old. My mother I didn't know what to do with me, so she sent me to get piano lessons when I was 5. When I could hardly sit there, and I was playing classical. But then I kind of started figuring out chord changes and this, and so it was. My parents didn't have any kind of musical education. My father he loved music, but and they didn't have resources to take me to a good school. I'm very grateful, though, with whatever they did. But I could have used more. My father had a few vinyls. Judy Garland, Doris Day, and then when I was in high school, I guess, someone gave me a cassette with Sarah. And I said, what? What is this? Like, the sweet Joe, what you call?
She does it to everyone. Trust me.
So I said, like, what? A cassette, ages ago. And then someone gave me 2 things. Didi Bridgewater, singing with the orchestra de Paris. She was singing around midnight. And I was like, oh, no. Because I was trained classically, so I knew the power of an instrument, the beauty of the range, but all this freedom of improvising, the variety of timbre. No one told me about that, so I was blown away by Didi. And then Diane Shore.
Beatles.
Yeah.
Beatles.
So I said, like, I think the first album I had was the In Tribute, Diane's In Tribute, where she was singing very famous songs sung by Ella, by Sarah, by Billy, by... Oh, wow. So it was through musicians that they said, like, you should listen to... So they were my dealers, this instrumentalists. Very accidental, in a way. I started singing with a big band when I was 22 years old. They hired me, it was just for private events, but they play all the Glenn Miller thing, Duke Ellington things. The director wrote the arrangements. I mean, it was like pretty decent. And some musicians said, like, hey, they're looking for a singer. I said, like, I'm in. I didn't know if I could be able to sing that music. But I was singing with them for 6 years. And I was singing standards, mostly. Learned from cassettes.
Right.
CDs, the best, the last years, maybe. And, but it was like a little blind for me, because I was like, okay, there was no one to teach me that in Argentina. So it was a little hard, technically. I had to listen and copy, like everybody. But now when I see all these young students that can go to YouTube and exactly see how someone is using the tongue, the jaw, the mouth to open and produce this sound or that other sound. I said, look, oh, I could have used that. So music came through my father, but came just through my musician dealers that maybe thought that I could use that information, and they nailed it. That changed my life. I was bored with music before that. And I still try not to be bored. I wanna be better. I wanna do better. I wanna write better. I wanna hang out more with my musicians and learn from their instruments, from their hands. There's so many things I'd like to do yet. Hope I have time.
Talk about the transition from Buenos Aires to Miami. It's gotta be a cultural shock. Musically, environmentally, I mean, language-wise, it had to be tough for you. How did you dive into the music scene in this country?
Well, when I moved to Miami, Buenos Aires is a very active culturally city, very similar to New York, to European cities, with this hunger for events, cultural events, art, theater, literature, fashion, advertising, whatever that is creative and innovative. Innovative, you say that word? That is a word. Is interesting for Argentinians. We like to know it all. And we don't. But so moving to an outdoors city, like a different pace city, like Miami, was a shock. I thought I was gonna die there, and I thought I was not gonna be able to sing anymore. And so one day I was like, okay, this is it, I will not sing. What am I gonna do here? There are no really jazz clubs or communication for events. And the other day I was like, I have to call someone, I have to do something. So I started writing to the musicians that are working with me now. Mark Small was the first one. I just found his website and I said, okay, he comes from New York. Oh, I love what he does. So I sent an email through the website, and he wrote back immediately. He said, like, hey, let's hang, let's do it. I was like, oh, hello, this is me. This is my music. I love to play with you. I love what you do. Would you like to have a session or do something? And he said yes. And then Martin Bejerano, and then Rodolfo Zuniga, he's not even in Miami anymore. And they started, like, in a way maybe helping me, but helping all of us. Because I think that in a way, many things happen in town because of this project. Because we started taking it like seriously. Not something to play in a bar or to hang in a session or in our houses. Like, hey, let's record. Let's move forward with the recording. Let's release that music. Let's make the effort and work on social media. Let's submit this music for awards, for grants. And it started happening for all of us. So, of course, still it's hard for me, but I started finding myself there. I'm not sure if after leaving the country where you were born, even if it was a hard experience, I don't think you ever will be able to belong again to any other place. I think you will belong there forever. your hometown, your neighborhood, a family, whatever. So we will have to carry that nostalgic sense of belonging forever. You might still be able to translate that into music that carries that, and hopefully someone will want to listen. Still, I'm working. I would say that I have a happy life in Miami. I have a beautiful work. I have this beautiful band, but still it's a little lonely. It seems to be the feeling that has been with me since I was a little girl. So it's still a little lonely.
Roxana, what does Black American music mean to you?
Well, they are my teachers. Even when I didn't have a proper training, straight coming from a black teacher, I've learned from that music the little skills I have. I would say that black community is the soul of this country. And I say with all this respect, as an immigrant, Latin American, not a completely white woman, But black music is the soul of this country. I don't know what would have happened here without black music. With all due respect to folk traditions, to all the other great artists out there. There is some innovation, some imagination in black music, while improvising, while being creative with your instruments that no other music has. Part of that magic that Brazilian music has, part of the magic in tango music, in chacareras, in our folk music. Africa. So I always feel a little shy to speak about that because I never know if I'm using the right amount of respect. And I know still this country has to learn a lot about diversity, about tolerance and respect. And I speak as a very grateful American, citizen American, Argentine-American. Black music is the soul of this country. So we still have to learn a lot. And I hope we help somehow, as musicians, as teachers, to preserve that heart beating.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Roxana Amed for her time. Make sure you support her brand new record, Becoming Human, which is now available on Sony Music. You can buy it on CD Baby, Amazon.com, and download it on iTunes. And it's available on all musical streaming platforms. For more information on Roxana's upcoming club and tour dates, and to order her music online, visit her website at roxana-amed.com or follow her on social media by way of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management at the Jazz Gallery for their warm hospitality. As always, people, I can't stress this more than enough. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos on YouTube, Vimeo. Also, leave comments. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.